So let's welcome Congressman Brandon Gill from the House Oversight and Government Accountability Committee. Congressman, thank you so much. Did these things matter? I mean, Elizabeth Warren, right? She lied about being a Native American. Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat Governor Tim Walz were both caught lying about their military service. Kamala Harris, did she lie about working at McDonald's? Why can't Democrats just play the authenticity card and tell us who they are? But it seems like their lives are made of lies.
Well, thanks for having me on. And you're exactly right, they do matter. You know, I could care less what Zohran Mamdani's race or ethnicity is. And I think most Americans could care less. It doesn't matter. But what I do care about is this guy disingenuously claiming to be African American when he, by his own admission, is not. And he was doing it all in order to game the college admissions system so that he could have a leg up over Americans who are applying to Columbia. That is wrong, and that's what I have a problem with. But remember, this is a guy whose entire persona is fake. This is a guy who is recently, there's a video going around of him eating rice with his hands, talking about how his worldview was shaped by the third world, when come to find out, he grew up with wealthy, well-known parents, went to expensive prep schools, didn't live any of the kind of life that he is portraying. That's what I have a problem with, and he's doing it as a means to fetishize the third world in order to push third world, literal communist policies in the United States. But you're right, we live in an age of authenticity. The American people want to know that the person that they're voting for is the way that they actually portray themselves. That's one of the reasons that President Trump is so popular with the American people, because they know what you see is what you get. And that is not true of the Democrat Party.
No, it's so true. President Trump just tells it like he sees it. And sometimes you agree with him, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you smile, sometimes you disagree. It's okay, because you know he's talking from his heart, and you know that President Trump is not trying to fake and pretend to be somebody else. Let me move on to this, Congressman. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, addressed wild criticism, blaming President Trump today for the Texas floods. Watch this.
Unfortunately, in the wake of this once-in-a-generation natural disaster, we have seen many falsehoods pushed by Democrats such as Senator Chuck Schumer and some members of the media. Blaming President Trump for these floods is a depraved lie, and it serves no purpose during this time of national mourning. Here are the facts. In the lead up to this tragic natural disaster, the National Weather Service did its job. Despite unprecedented rainfall, the National Weather Service executed timely and precise forecasts and warnings.
Congressman, you're a Texan. What we're seeing is horrific. No doubt about it. It's just an absolute tragedy. But to hear Democrats already trying to blame Donald Trump for this is, what's your reaction?
You know, it's disgusting right now. This is a national emergency, and we are still pulling bodies out of the flooded water right now. So for Democrats to come in and falsely politicize this as a way of trying to score political points against the president, I think is disgusting. And you know what? I think that the American people can see through this kind of stuff. They can see that this isn't the way that normal, decent people behave. Right now, instead of attacking President Trump for something he didn't do and had nothing to do with, we should be praying for the victims and for their families and for the rescue operators who are working in dangerous conditions right now. And I think that's the leadership that we see from the White House, and that's what the American people want to see.
No, so true. Congressman Brandon Gill, the great state of Texas, thank you so much for joining us.